Hello! We're gonna do a tier 11 on my Resto Shaman. So I was doing a couple of videos just to focus a little more specifically on how we survive in 11s. So I've been doing 11s for a while, and I find they're pretty easy, but after talking to guildies a bit, it's not easy for everyone, right? So here's some tips and tricks help get through. I did one earlier on my Fury Warrior, kind of show how a DPS can make it through these without too much trouble. And then here we're going to run with the Resto Shaman. First thing, let's take a look at Brann and his best way to set him up. So if you're going to heal, then I'm using a basic Mythic Plus spec, and I got a couple tweaks in there that we wouldn't use in Mythic Plus, like Lightning Lasso, but nothing too much out of the ordinary. We did kind of drop some of the chain healing talents, and I guess I'll go ahead and see if I remember to link the talent spec I'm using in the description here of the video, but that's not really an important part here in the delves. You can get by without tweaking, just makes it easier. Pinged Augment Chip, which increases Brann's damage and healing. That's where you want to go. Overdrive Pylon also, as a healer, a Resto Shaman doesn't do much damage. You can take whatever boost you can get, and the Overdrive Pylon will apply to Brann's damage as well. So that's where we want to be, his damage and our healing. Those are going to be, I think, the best combination there. Okay, this scenario, we need to disrupt Dark Fuse operations, which I can tell you right now, we don't need to kill everything in here. You can 100% it with leaving several packs of mobs up, so we can pick and choose a little bit. Rather than the scenario that you got to take the little robot guy and destroy the electric field generators, this one has to use teleporters to get around the place, which you can walk through the electric fields too, but let's see here. This guy we do want to get, since I want to keep collecting undercoin. Now when that pinged ad comes out that goes after Brann to stun him, one thing you may or may not know is you don't need to actually DPS him down. Just decurse, or I use Purify Spirit on Brann, and that cleans him just well. I don't believe I'm using Improved Purify. Nope, just a simple Purify. So I think that's removing magic effects, but that'll clear the ad, no problem. Very easy then to run the Pinged Augment Chip. And a little horn you heard, I set up a weak aura. That'll be linked in the description. And you can see the debuff on Brann's frame, but this audible alert helps too. So Brann is fairly easy to keep up at the moment, though Blizzard did some pretty big tweaks the second week that actually made him much less usable, I think. And most of those seem to have been adjusted or reverted. So he's okay at the moment. All you gotta do is keep him healed. So I do track his electric charge weapons buff there, which increases his damage. And the buff stack, and that's actually dependent on how much you're healing him. Now once again, so we got the ad there, All I gotta do is purify spirit on Brann and it goes away. Real simple. As we know, Resto Shaman aren't exactly doing a lot of DPS at the moment, so things like that help. Let's take this teleporter. As I said, we can skip some of this stuff in here. And we got some punchy thugs here. They are pretty easy. Just do want to be aware they do a frontal, so if you're standing close to Brann, just don't stand in the frontals. Sometimes Brann will charge after mobs that are close, which is generally okay. These guys here hit a little more. I will say one thing with, I'm playing Totemic, of course, as you can tell by relocating the totems, but if you aren't, then just be aware that Brann will tank where he wants to tank, so at least as Totemic, most of my damage is going to be coming off a healing rain. Okay, I see. So supposedly they wanted me to clear that pack so I could go up there and get that guy and the chest, but we're not going to do that. These guys aren't too bad to handle if Brann is tanking. They do throw out these bombs, which you can outrange. But for me, at least, pretty key to keep that healing or the surging totem down around the ads, because that's always going to be my top DPS there.
Look around. There's treasure here.
So these aerial support bots are actually do a little damage, so I like to keep them stunned as much as I can. As long as you're healing up Brann, that's where he really shines, is in packs about that size. A good solid DPS. He'll get the ads down pretty quick.
You're looking up there, bro. Take a wee rest.
I don't think I did it at the beginning, but if you eat from his cozy campfire, you get a 10-minute buff, which is actually pretty decent. And I guess it's worth saying, been getting all sorts of bags full of delve stuff, and there are buff items in here, like this one. If you eat this, and they can stack along with Brann stuff, and they give you various small benefits in the delves. So that one is haste increased and movement speed. There are several different things we've been getting from the delves, like that.
Keep up near me!
Well, that's interesting. We seem to have pulled a whole bunch of stuff. So this is a mini boss. We'll drop one of our power-ups on that hovering Menace there. We do want to keep his alpha cannon interrupted and watch out for that charge right there. Pretty easy besides that. Yeah, see, that's interesting. Doesn't actually make sense to me that they put a big arrow on the ground where the brute's gonna charge, but not that other guy. No biggie, but should be consistent, I think. Okay. There we go. Oh, another power up. Now I don't think that we cleared all those underpin groups. But there's one more up there somewhere. I don't really feel like clearing it now, because the point of this was really to kind of take a healer through here and to show, if you set up Brann the way I did and you keep him healed and you don't stand in stuff, and do your best to help with interrupts and stuns, which, we've got Thunderstorm for the knock-up and Capacitor Totem as well. Like I said, we got the talent tree kind of set up to get extra Capacitor Totem, and we took out some of the chain healing type buffs or talents in favor of more single target stuff, because that's what we're doing, putting healing searches into Brann. That helps keep his buff stacked up. So that Tremor Claw, you can actually outrange a little bit. Closer you are, the more damage it's going to do. Now here's something you'll keep in mind. This Carnage Cannon drops pools under you on where Brann was. And of course you can't control where Brann is standing, including if he decides to keep standing in there. But you can't control where your pull drops, so like it's coming up again, and I'm going to drop it right on top of the other one, which will do a little damage to you, but you can take a tick or two. But of course the big advantage there is you aren't clogging up your floor. Luckily, Blizzard decided rather than try to fix his AI, make sure he's not standing in stuff, they would just have it not do as much damage to Brann, so I guess it works out. I'll say this boss has a fair amount of health, so this takes a little while. Yeah, pretty long fight, but that's alright. As you can see, pretty quick and easy on a healer. I would say it's probably the easiest way for my tunes that can heal. Do a delve. And I did not get that last underpin pack for the extra under coins, but not a big deal. Anyway, hopefully you get a little bit of tips from how I set up Brann. Other than that, all you gotta do is heal him and follow behind, and don't stand in stuff. And it's pretty easy to survive as a healer now with Brann, which is pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's exactly the first week. He was plowing things with a lot more damage, so it was a little OP. Now he still does good damage, but mostly on the bigger pulls. You won't see huge numbers from him single target, which did make that fight. He's only at 500 DPS for that fight. I'm at 200, which is about Resto Shaman. I guess he could probably do a little more, but yeah, it's going to take a while for bosses like that particular one, who also has a shield I think he puts up that's got to be taken off, and then you can get some actual damage into him again. But pretty simple. If you have any questions, post them up in the comments. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.